Recently, a delegation from Utah returned from a trade mission to New Zealand and Australia. I think that's places that have tremendous potential for Utah.
And they're not very close, right, to our
Right, yeah.
shores. But look, Jason Swensen with the Deseret News was there. He was able to travel, and there are multiple articles that he has published on this trade mission in the Deseret News. But Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Greg and Holly. Good to be with you guys.
How's the jet lag?
Well, that's a rhetorical question, right?
Right.
19 hours difference between Salt Lake and Auckland, New Zealand. So
Wow.
I'm still waking up at 2:30 in the morning, wide awake, but then by 2:30 in the afternoon,
You're dead.
It's bedtime. So
Yeah.
get back with me in a few days, and I'll probably give you a better answer.
So,
All right.
I think a lot of our listeners, including myself, weren't aware that this was going on. What was behind this trade mission trip?
I think it was just a lot of really, really smart and involved people from a number of different industries and areas recognized, I think, as you suggested a minute ago, Greg, a tremendous opportunity at this time to be able to develop and build on Utah's relationship with that part of the world. Australia, New Zealand, areas, of course, that have similar market economies as our own. And, of course, it's just a very, very, geopolitically a very, very volatile moment with so many things happening that I'm sure we can talk about. And so the timing was just right to have a Utah contingent in that part of the world talking about some of the most important issues that I think will shape our globe over the next decade.
Tell us a little bit about the makeup of the delegation that went there.
It was really, it was both large and very diverse, Holly. You had, about 80 people with a delegation that, of course, was led by Governor Cox and then joined by some of his leaders from his Office of Economic Opportunity, along with several private businesses, industry leaders, and then some key educators. You had people like Utah State University's David Weiser, their Vice President of Government External and External Affairs, and also University of Utah President Taylor Randall. And to give you some sense as to what a priority this mission was for someone like President Randall, he was not at the Utah-BYU football game a week ago, which of course I'm sure was one of the key things he circles on his calendar every single year. Instead was way down under, participating in this delegation because of some of the opportunities that I think he recognizes would present itself. And so some sense as to just how much importance a lot of people placed on this mission.
And Jason, it sounds like a bit of a diverse group, but what were some of the opportunities that we can enjoy between Utah and that part of the world in terms of trade?
There were four key industries that were really focused on over the course of the mission: aerospace and defense, life sciences, innovation, which was, of course, of key interest to people like President Randall and other educators, and I think perhaps most importantly and most timely, critical minerals, which, of course, has just grabbed headlines over the last week. And so it was sort of a fortuitous moment for the Utah group and some of the mining leaders, led by Governor Cox, to be in front of their Australian counterparts when so much is happening in the critical minerals world in real time.
So I'm looking at the article that you wrote specifically on talking to Governor Cox, and you had an exclusive interview with him, I think towards the end of the trade mission. Can you just summarize a little bit about what you saw from the governor?
The governor was really there, I think, with a consistent message, and that is that Utah is open for business. He really was the state's biggest marketing cheerleader to say, look, we have so much to offer in terms of our own, resources in areas of critical minerals. We have friendly regulatory practices, and we have a population, a workforce that is really global. We have so many people here in Utah that are able to speak multiple languages, so many people in Utah who are well educated, and so many people in Utah who have had their own global experiences, whether it's from their church missions or whether it's from educational opportunities or business opportunities. And so the theme that I saw him repeat in front of very, very different audiences is that Utah is a place that really can shift from being crossroads of the West to really the crossroads of the world, because we have so much to offer, both in terms of resources, our regulatory friendliness, and just some very, very capable, hardworking people.
It seems like we hear a lot, Jason, lately about the share and the trade of critical minerals. And you mentioned that was a significant part of this. Without naming specifics, does that part of the world seem to have a lot, or are they looking to purchase from us?
No, you remember that they actually do have, especially in Australia, key reserves of critical minerals, which again, I think will be one of the defining elements of what direction our world goes over the next 10 or 15 years. Again, as I referenced, just last Monday, a week ago last Monday, President Trump and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese were in the White House signing an $8.5 billion critical minerals deal, all designed, of course, to counter China's domination of the critical minerals market. And I think a lot of us may not realize when we hear critical minerals just how essential and vital that is, to our day-to-day lives and certainly our economies. It's used in everything from our fighter jets to the electric vehicles we're driving, to the laptop you're looking at this moment, to the cell phone that you're going to use throughout the day. If China, sort of has a hostile monopoly on those critical minerals, that gives them tremendous leverage that may not put a country like the United States or put us at a huge disadvantage. And so being able to establish these relationships with Australia, given their resources of critical minerals, is absolutely essential. And it certainly proved to be a timely element of the Utah trade mission.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jason. That was Jason Swensen with the Deseret News, who accompanied that 80-plus person delegation to New Zealand and Australia.
That's some very good news and some promising news.